say you're sick and tired of not getting leg printing on Marvel, or say you just want minifigures in general to be way more detailed. Well, don't worry, because several custom companies are already on the case and you can head over to their website where you can pre-order it now. This sort of system has been very common for me and a couple of friends over the last couple of years. And although I love customs, I love seeing what other companies are doing comparatively to LEGO, and some custom companies even offering minifigures we've never seen before in pad printed and high quality versions. And although 9 times out of 10 the end product is great, the process of getting there isn't so. So in this video I want to discuss what the problems are with buying customs and the way they currently operate. Take this Groot figure for example. I ordered this figure from Jin Customs. They're a company that specializes more in molded elements for minifigs. Personally, I like ordering from these guys because it's interesting to see what new molds they can come up with for minifigures that LEGO could potentially be doing as well. And one of the main reasons I wanted this fig is because it does something with the Groot figure that I think LEGO should be doing. It creates a new torso piece for the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 version of Groot where he's a lot more swole and makes the minifigure look a lot more unique and muscular. And although I don't think LEGO would do this exact technique by taking the arms of a minifig off, as we've never seen that before, rather what I do think they'd do is create a brand new swole torso piece for a standard minifigure, which, believe it or not, I do think LEGO have played around with. Take a look at the LEGO Incredibles game for example. Mr. Incredible got this awesome torso piece that just connected to standard minifig legs, but unfortunately when it came to making Incredible sets, they opted to just use a regular minifig torso instead. But definitely something I think LEGO should be considering. Characters like Venom, Groot, Thanos, Hulk all would benefit from a torso mold like this. And hell, I can even imagine a lot of Star Wars characters that could do with this as well. And considering we're getting a brand new big fig for the new Harry Potter sets, I don't think a new torso mold that could be used across multiple themes is too much to ask for. Maybe you could argue it changes the minifig silhouette a bit too much, but I think if you're only doing it for specialized characters, then if you ask me, it only makes the character more unique. But this figure certainly isn't without its problems. This is the same company that did the Iron Man from last video and the Lizard from the No Way Home project, so I'm used to ordering these types of figures from this company. Normally when you order a custom figure, you'll be presented with a 3D render, and this figure was no exception. Most companies work like this, and you're ordering off of a pre-rendered image that can be potentially changed later on before you get the product. This system 90% of the time works fine, but with molded pieces like this, you're trusting the company to match the colors of the official LEGO product. And unfortunately, that leads me to my first problem with this Groot. The dark tan of the official figure and the new molded piece just don't quite match exactly. Or obviously on the render it does. Now trust me, I understand that color matching, especially lately, is really difficult, but when you're arguably paying hundreds of dollars for these minifigures, you should be getting the colors as close as possible. I'd love to see custom companies using in real life pictures of the minifigures so we can get a better gauge of how they're going to look in hand. It also makes it incredibly more convenient for people to actually order these figures, as they'll get a better gauge of what the figure actually looks like. And this leads me to another problem. Although I'm a bit more accustomed to it, a lot of people complain about the over-detailedness of these minifigures. My general rule for ordering customs is if it can blend at least somewhat with official LEGO minifigures, then it's absolutely fine. But unfortunately, that's very subjective. I know a lot of people who even get angry at the fact that they've printed on the hips of minifigs, which if you ask me is the biggest non-issue since helmet holes. I know side torso printing is also one of those things that people generally don't like, but I have to reiterate, that is one of the stylizations of this particular company. I personally prefer displaying a regular Groot figure underneath this molded piece, as I feel the one with the side torso printing and side leg printing looks overly detailed for the mold. The reddish brown all over the custom figure is nowhere to be seen on the molded part, so it just makes more sense to not have that included. There are many companies out there doing minifigures that look like CMFs. Corefigs and Jackalite are two of the companies out there that I think are doing a really good job at matching LEGO's style, doing enough to make the minifig look a bit more unique, and still, yes, doing things like printing on the back of the legs, but put it in a lineup of minifigures and it just looks like a regular CMF. Not to mention they operate through resellers, which means ordering a figure is somewhat simpler. And I say somewhat because I can't call this video what I've called it without mentioning Rex Mini-Brick. Now for those of you who don't know about the situation, it's basically a reseller who disappeared off the face of the earth, with multiple orders and products still in the works. But I know he collaborated with a lot of well-known companies to make some incredibly desirable figures. The one I was most interested in was obviously the Spider-Man No Way Home figures, as the one thing I really did like about these figures is one, they were before the set, so we had no way of knowing whether we were going to get anything, and two, I was confident that these figures were going to look better than what LEGO would release, as I know it would be to CMF grade standards. Now of course we did get the Doc Ock figure, I've made a video about him on this channel, but the Spider-Man figures we are still waiting for, and have been waiting for now for over 2 years. Now as far as I'm aware, everybody who ordered not through Rex Mini-Brick is going to get the figures eventually, as Phoenix Custom have stated that they're determined to fix the issue, but everybody who ordered through Rex Mini-Brick have now got to jump through hoops to get these minifigures that they have already paid for. And if you ask me, this pre-order system that every single company company works under just shouldn't be the way forward. I understand doing a few pre-orders to get your company off the ground, but most of these minifigures are made in a limited sum anyway, so you might as well just make those figures if you think they're going to sell, and sell them to the resellers so they have them in hand so people get their orders quicker. This is what companies like Minifigs UK are going forward with apparently in future, only selling stuff they have in hand, which I'm hoping will change the pre-order scene for the better, and cause a lot more people to be less stressed in general. But say you needed a little bit of extra help. Well, today's paid partner might be able to step in. BetterHelp. Finding a therapist for you can be super difficult. Most of the time to get a good one you need a recommendation from somebody, and even then that might not be the best therapist for you. But with BetterHelp that process has become much more streamlined and easier. The first thing you need to do is head to the description and click on my link BetterHelp/TommyCFigs. Answer a few questions and BetterHelp will link you with a credentialed therapist within about 48 hours. And if that therapist isn't the right fit for you, you can change that therapist at no additional cost with a simple click of a button. You can talk to your therapist about anything. Personally, I like to talk to them about managing my time better, but I know a lot of my friends are using BetterHelp to live happier and healthier lives. And on top of that, you can do it however you want, whether it's just simply messaging them, video call, or a normal phone call. If you think you might benefit from therapy, consider BetterHelp. And make sure you're using my link in the description below, BetterHelp/TommyCFigs, or choose TommyCFigs during sign up to get a special discount off your first month. Thanks BetterHelp for being a paid partner on this video. Let's get back into it. And that leads me to my biggest issues when ordering custom figures over the last few years, and that's the wait times. Now don't get me wrong, I understand that it's under a pre-order system, so you're gonna be waiting a while for your product to be made. But I think there's a level of expected wait time with a custom figure that is becoming a bit too ridiculous. Now I could just easily jab at those Spider-Man figures, as some of them we've been waiting over 2 years for now. And don't get me wrong, I don't excuse those wait times for any reason, but I understand there's more going on in that situation to factor in. I'm just talking regular minifigures that you've ordered and are expecting them with no issue. I've had friends that ordered Baggles figures that have taken over a year to ship. I've ordered figures that have taken at least 8 months to arrive. And that's not even the worst thing. Sometimes you'll order a figure and you'll just hear nothing about it until it shows up. Don't get me wrong, there are certain forums where you can go and ask what the update is with a figure, but you shouldn't really have to go out of your way to ask for an update of figures that can sometimes cost hundreds of dollars. Take this figure for example. I wanted it for a video that was coming up later on that year, purchased it and purposely delayed the video, as I knew ordering a custom it would take a lot longer to show up than other figures. This figure is Cyborg Cop, made by Brick Cucumber and Legacy Star, and was ordered all the way back in February of last year, and I've heard absolutely nothing about it. No pictures, no updates, and it's still available over on their website with no indication of how long it'll take to arrive. And the problem again seems to go back to the pre-order system that all of these companies work under. It seems like it would be so beneficial for every single company to just print the figures before they announce them. All of these figures have to be thought about and designed before announcement anyway, and all of them are limited run. These companies must have been confident that these types of figures will sell to people, otherwise they won't have released them at all. Yeah, this newer system of having the figures in hand might be a little bit less beneficial for them, because they may over or underproduce these figures, but there's nothing stopping them doing another batch of these figures after the initial run if the figures were extremely popular. These companies will know roughly what amount of figures will sell for the figure that they are creating, and that is my main suggestion to these companies. Stop doing pre-orders. Have the figures available for people to buy immediately. When you announce a figure, it can be a big drop date, and you can literally go to the website and order that figure and receive it within the same week. I understand every company is not going to have the same sort of costs, and this will definitely make it harder for new companies to come out of the woodworks. But it's like I said before, there's no problem with having a pre-order system when you're starting up your company, but when every single figure is pre-ordered and there's 2 each month, I sometimes have to think what this company is doing in terms of production. How do they plan to get this many figures out when it takes them a year to make a figure anyway? It's unfortunately making buying customs quite difficult, and that's a shame, because I truly do think that there is a market for customs, and even though they are, yes, very pricey, I am a strong advocate of pay somebody for their time. Most custom companies release behind the scenes images of them hand making new molds, going through extensive tests to try and match LEGO style but also create likeness. Not to mention they'll also be using the best quality plastics for their custom molded pieces, pad printing to match LEGO style, and also using LEGO's official minifigures, so the quality when you get it in hand is as good if not better than LEGO's. And also there are companies out there like Firestar who are doing this properly. Not only do they have figures that aren't pad printed that are a lot cheaper than pad printed options, but their pad printed options that are coming out are not limited to a pre-order. Yes, they still have limited availability, but they've already printed the 300 figures they have that can immediately be sent out. Feel free to use my discount code if you end up ordering anything from them. And companies like CoreFigs, who arguably are a startup, are doing a pre-order system but only have 1 or 2 month wait times. And hopefully when they are a bit more of a known name, they move to a figure in hand hand only sort of system. My goal for this video wasn't to shade a bunch of custom companies, or put anybody off buying customs in the future, but this video was discussing some of the issues that I've had, and where potentially these customs can be improving. I'd love to hear your opinions and experiences below, and I'll also link in the description some companies I've had positive experiences with, even though I've had to wait long for their figures. Thanks to everybody supporting these videos over on Patreon. You're allowing me to do a lot more projects, and just take a little bit more time working on videos for you guys. If you're interested in ad-free, extended, and bonus content, it might be worth checking out. And if you didn't end up seeing my last video about comparing a custom figure to a knockoff one, I'll leave that one on screen so you can go and check it out.